Let me assure you, there are the Ministry of Environment and Forest, many of us would have been there at Delhi. If you go there, this is some 12-story tall building, and only to store the kind of the number of EIA studies that have gone to the environmental clearance, they will require 5 or 10 buildings like that. But what happens thereafter? Big question, because there is a big disconnect between, sir, would you like to, maybe the government side people, they would also like to throw some light on this. Is there a follow-up process? Do you see a big disconnect between the State Pollution Control Board and its capacities to manage the show vis-a-vis the MOEF and the DOE directives that are coming our way? And if there is a big gap, why not somebody slip into it, or something gets spilled out of it? So these are the issues that I wanted to bring it to the common understanding of the audience, so that we all talk in one language, on one page, to see that yes, we require a process like this, and how do we really address to the pitfalls, the gaps, and the overlaps within the system that are already prevailing with us. Is it time out for me, sir? Anyway, thank you so much. I would like to close.
Thank you, Dr. Palnitkar, for giving his very present and futuristic views, and the synergy that we have been talking about. He can foresee that more specializations coming up, like in every area. Convergence and divergence. The divergent areas will be coming up. The super specialization, like in every field, like from medical to any science. And then you have to converge and come to the crux of the issue. And a very important point he has raised, that EC has to be the area based, situation based. It can't be one notification. For the country like ours, where we have such a diverse climatic conditions and tropical country, particularly extreme cold and extreme winter, and the temperatures variations, So this is a very important point, that it is a thought for us to deliver upon and come out with some suggestions, and then how that goes to the policy making. Thank you very much. So now we'll have 5 minutes of question answer, because we're already running over the time. And so a few questions to these distinguished speakers, and then we shall move to the panel discussion. Yes.
Clarification, maybe suggestion or dimension could be seen. Like sometime Vastu Shastra people, they rope in, come in, and they have their own suggestions. That is one. How do we take care? And the second is mainly I am concerned with the monitoring, finally. How it can be done, because monitoring is not done properly. There are so many components of that where it's not possible at all. Who is responsible and all that? That thing I'm asking. Thank you.
So Vastu and environment, I don't know how do you want me to mix up. But I think Vastu is more of a belief. I have had opportunity as a part of my professional practice to interact with many Vastu Pandits. And everybody has a different philosophy of how he gives solutions. Now, those solutions are based on many things. So somebody makes your horoscope with this particular thing, somebody mixes your directions with this particular. So I don't know, I'm not a very master of this particular subject, so I just, if I want to accept it, I accept it the way he is saying. Environmentally, if you put it like this, like what they say, where should be your water position, and so my mommy tells me that in Puranas, I've not read Puranas, but my mommy tells me in Puranas, it's not only 8 directions, there are 16 directions which have been clearly specified in terms of the locations and the things which should be placed for that particular thing. Now, that particular thing has some base. We all know the birth of human beings, the basic cell comes with sun and water and air. So all these particular things have a very specific locations which they, like I was telling about happiness, so they talk about prosperity. So they have synergized something with some beliefs, it seems, and that's how things work on. Scientifically, if you say, we always like that wherever the sun is, the light is there, so your directions of window should be like that. Your wind directions are known to you, so you should have your, so whatever I explained to you, whatever I'm doing here, actually I don't call it Vastu, but it's basic science. Similarly, excavations, they say, the excavation, south should not be excavated, it should be heavy, northeast should be excavated, and all those things. So all, I think somehow they will be linked some way or the other. So if it's somebody's belief, then as an architect, what normally I do is I just think logic, whether it fits in the whole project or not. Till the time my client is adamant कि उल्टा ही लटकना है, सोना ऐसे ही, his wish. Second question was
First question itself, like I came across with the Vastu person. In Badoj, we had gone for an industrial area, a factory to be constructed, and this is on the bank of that river. Normally the water level, that finally it will flow to the river.
Pardon?
The rain, whatever,
Yeah.
it will finally, the slope is toward that. And we accordingly plan, all the drains on the roadside and all that, it will be flowing through that one. Finally, we had a meeting with the proponent and the person who is planning. He said, no, the water should go
From south to east,
on the other side.
south to north.
I said, but then why did you call us? I mean, I will believe that it should be laws of nature should be followed. I mean, Vastu, whatever it is, common sense or nature. But why are you telling me, no, it will cost you hell. See, first you take up and then bring like that. What is this?
So
He said, doesn't matter. Let me cost me anything, but then I want that one. I mean, that.
So you are professor of engineering. He is a professor of prosperity. So wherever you mix together, that makes you happy. You do it. I know. Second question was about monitoring. So that is exactly what Dr. Sanjay had specified.
See, the more you try to squeeze, the more it runs between the fingers. This is again the law of the nature, right? So our monitoring mechanism, let me come back to the nitty-gritties of the government system, because I've been working towards the government side also. Even today I'm working as an advisor to the state pollution control boards, including in Rajasthan. See, we are in a very bad habit of issuing notices, we don't write letters as a government, right? As a MOEF, or let it be your Mumbai municipal, don't name anybody or any institution for that matter, but our system of the institutionalization itself is under question. If there is no, for example, last week when I was here, I was fortunate to have an interaction on creating one railway university. This is the PMO agenda, and there is nobody who is ready to take this, which was discussed by us at various forums. Anyway, this is one of the examples. I mean, we do not have institutions. We have either the regulatory or the other side of the table. That's it. There is no linkage. So I always keep vouching and saying that let us have, instead of that PPP model, which is an utter failure globally, which is being followed in India for all multilateral funding institution projects, even Government of India centrally supported scheme projects. We do not have the monitoring mechanism in place. Why? Because we do not have an institution. And why we do not have an institution is nowhere in the picture except producing degree. I'm sorry, sir. But then, these are the realities and these are the facts. So we need to have PIP, private, public, and in the middle there should be an institution which governs both this. So unless there is a guide, philosopher and friend, there is only the money that is the transaction between me and my friend. In my place, anybody else could be there. Even you could be there. Downtrodden person of the society could be there. The Nagar Seth of Mumbai could be there. The kind of transactions that we are supposed to address upon are just missing in totality. That is where I request institutions like NIRI. They have a much, much larger role to play. Not just, doing the research as one of the initial mandates for NIRI. I am sorry, sir, if I am crossing my limit. But then we need stronger institutions, much stronger institutions, to tell our regulators how exactly they are supposed to, what exactly they are supposed to regulate. So they are getting regulated by the individual's aspirations rather than the collective understanding of the subject itself. So these are the missing things. Anyway, open for discussion, please. Sir.
Any more questions? I think when there is no question, we move on to the panel discussion. Sorry?
See, monitoring itself, for example. I just a good example. The area I'm living, even Mr. Javadekar and Nigam, I mean, they were there. They asked us, give a good presentation, and finally said, any question from the floor. So I got up and told, the monitoring part particularly. I'm in an area, a big complex housing about 15,000 people, 35 towers, and around that there are about 150 factories. And the direction of the wind is towards us. I mean, the pollution-wise, we are suffering like everybody is suffering. Okay? It's not that these factories have not been given the eviction notice. They have been given, but still they are there. Monitoring part, when I'm saying, but still they are there. So, but I mean, political also component, that is in collusion with that, they are still surviving there. I mean, that part component,
And
political.
Sir is a member of SCAC too, imagine.
You can answer, yeah. Sanjay
Okay,
can
and as an independent person, I wear different hats at different times, so I enjoy that liberty to be a little outspoken, and maybe if it hurts someone, not as an individual, please, may not kindly be mistaken. See, we all know Rome was not built in a day. Where there were industrial estates, habitats have come closer to them. And vice versa is also happening. So, it is the economic forces. जो गुरुत्वाकर्षण जितना स्वयं सिद्ध और सत्य नियम है कि ऊपर से नीचे कोई भी चीज़ गिरेगी नीचे ही जाएगी, पैसा भी उतना ही स्वयं सिद्ध और सत्य नियम है, irrespective of any of these pillars of democracy. So it is very easy to talk like this. But when you sit in the seat of judgment, your life becomes difficult. You are only bound by the legalities. If the legal thing does not prescribe for something, as a person sitting on the other side of the table, I am not supposed to hit upon that. So let us try to make life simple, my dear friends. What is not our mandate, I requested that beyond DC.
Sir, I'll beg to differ on this. I accept whatever it is. You're right about development, you're right about monetary policies. But the only thing which I feel is missing is the synergy of all the departments. Now, even if the things were being developed, now there's a new DP coming up. You knew that his problem is very genuine, he's a member with us. And you have two phases of residential and industrial. For development, you change your industrial policy, that I to R policies came in and you started working, but there's still industries happening. So the area in between, I think, which he's talking about, is still to be developed. Why don't we do a DP in such a way that we have a partial DP? We are talking about plots, we are talking about segments. Why are we not talking about urban zones? Have we at new DP, have we analyzed or documented our issues right now for the city, environmental or urban, otherwise also? You're talking about TODs, you're talking about high density population, builders booty, government booty, everything accepted, because you need everything, you need funds. At the same time, are we really short of land? Are we really short of ideas? Or have we actually given that particular exercise, or done that particular exercise, rather than putting a notification and asking for suggestion or objection? While making a notification, why these kind of workshops have not happened? This DP which is being formed now, were we sleeping 10 years back? Why didn't we start our workshops 10 years back? I'm not talking about Maharashtra, I'm just generally talking about. Why are we so slow in understanding? We know this is my date of future, where you have to design a new future. Why are we sleeping? Forget government. Have we woken up and told anybody here, let's sit down, let's discuss? New Bombay, I talked. We bought Bombay time 2004. We discussed with commissioner. I said, "Pani lekar aao apne corporation mein, yaar. I don't want to be dependent on Sitco all the time." I was not a part of government. I was just an architect. I said connected. So what you are saying is right. I think it has to be a movement. It cannot be an individual person's discretion or responsibility. Anyway, I think should be.
So, thank you very much. Now we move on to the panel discussion and invite a very senior member of all these issues, Dr. Kulkarni, to be here, and I invite the panelists also. Sudhir Badami, please. Rajesh Biniwale, Dr. Biniwale. Professor Roshni Udinwar from Rachna Sansad. Radhika Patil from HBS Realtors. Nitin Kandlekar from the Omkar Developers. So I thank the earlier speakers for an excellent views they are expressed. They are all part of this session, which shall be taken on for any kind of brainstorming, thinking, discussions. So don't think that questions on those issues and views are closed on, because the session is still on, and this panel discussion is on the building, same session, building design, development rules and environmental infrastructures. So please sharpen yourself, your ideas. The panelists will be talking around this area, and still have the open mind to have your suggestions, questions, and the difficult task I slip over and hand over to the better expert, Mr. Kulkarni, please.
How much time I have? Because
Yeah, we shall have 45 minutes. This
So-
time allotted to the 45. So we are late behind by 40 minutes. So instead of 1:30, 1:15 was, no, sorry, it was from 12:30 to the 1:15. So 45 minutes panel discussion. Now we go for 45 minutes for this. So go for lunch in 45 minutes. Okay?
Okay. Well, at present I'm with corporate sector, so what I will do is I won't use any time for introducing my panel members. Once Dr. Rakesh Kumar has selected them as panel members, that justifies them. You can go to Google and find out who are they. Now again, time available is very limited, and people on this side want to say something, and people who are sitting on the other side at least want to raise questions. If they can't get answer, they're also fine with that, because they are looking for opportunity to raise their queries in public forum. That is what my understanding is. So what I will do is, I will give in the beginning 5 minutes to each of my panel members, and I have 3 critical questions in mind, since we are talking of EC process. Whether EC process has really helped in making projects more environmental friendly in the past. How? Can EC process really make projects more environmental friendly in future by doing something more? And third most important thing which corporate world is worried about is, can we simplify the process? मतलब make it simple, बड़ी जो टीवी का advertisement का tagline है, can we really make this EC process simple than what at present it is there? Recently, one direction has come from Minister of Environment, that recent EIA notification amendment, where they are talking of precise things which are to be done from 5,000, 20,000, 20,000 to 1,50,000 and above. So like that, can the life be made simple? Now, where do I start? I will start with Rajesh Biniwale.
Good story.
Yeah.
So, can I? Okay, this is better. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kulkarni, giving me the first chance, but I just forgot your second question. Okay. So anyhow, doesn't make much of a difficulty to answer, because all the 3 questions you posed is in the way of, I feel environmental clearance as a statutory requirement itself is a bad idea. It should have been an organic living of our own part of development. It should have been environmental planning or environmental development itself could be a part of it. Whatever we face as a SESEs many a times is something, because there are some statutory requirements, so something has to be managed to get that clearance, something has to fit in beyond the economic aspirations. So the basic part of which was in India before or still existing in some part of the world is probably the organic living, which is largely missing. So whether EC process helped or not, I don't know, but to some extent we could impose certain things on the society or the kind of economics which is being around, that's fine. And can it be simplified? Yes, definitely it can be simplified, because the basic intent or intention which was there for the environmental clearance or for that particular purpose, if it has come true from the developer itself, or developer in the essence I am talking about any of this industry or anybody who is trying to do that, it can solve that. So what is basically missing is we thought that we are a different than environment and we are not a part of it, and we are trying to exploit it and then try to protect it again. So two basic wrong conceptions which we are trying to follow. So I believe, to make it very simplified, let's follow what should be the organic living principle and try to understand the risk which we are talking about. Like some of the things which has already been talked about, say for example, Mr. Sethi was presenting and he said, we were satisfied with CFL, and that moment itself it clicked in my mind. In fact, I also allowed that mercury risk in my house. Having worked in NIRI for 21 years, I still allowed that risk of mercury in my house. That's where we are. The lack of the knowledge at the one side, the kind of development we want a lesser electricity bill. At what cost? Okay. And then one more thing which I would specifically like to have is to make it more simplified, that in entire process. Individual projects basis is something which is really making it hard, not so simple. Whereas what Mr. Sethi has also mentioned about is, can we have a DP itself having including that? And being a part of one of the development plan of Nagpur, I also felt that yes, we could have said something. Instead of only about the road, we should have also talked about the traffic, as well as we should have also talked about the sewage generation, as well as any other thing. And not only the traffic, of course, the air pollution which will be created in its impact. So in my opinion, to cut it short, is one is, it can be definitely simplified, but if it has to be planned in a larger perspective, and the perspective of organic living. And second is, we understand it as an environmental planning rather than environmental clearance.
Yeah, now I call upon Roshni. Then I will go to that developer part.
Good afternoon, everyone. I have some points, and I hope I will address all the three questions that you have raised. Firstly, I would like to say that I am from the Rachna Sansad Institute of Environmental Architecture, which has been doing research as well as projects in the field of environmental architecture since 2002, and we have been working very closely with NIRI also, of course, has been partnering us on various things, and we've been involved in also policy making. So, I mean, today we talked a little bit about green buildings. It involves a whole range of assets, from embodied energy to passive design to a lot of things, energy, water, and waste management within buildings. But I think what we should not forget is the larger context of what are the results. Climate change, the issues such as climate change, or at a city level, we're talking about urban heat island effect. So I think there is a need to look at the benchmarking of these things, as in whether the whole EC process is addressing them. Are we doing better than what we were last year? Are there improvements or changes in the levels of air pollution or water pollution or waste management or whatever? I think there is a strong need to have some sort of benchmarking, and institutions should definitely be taking this up. And some of the things I